My mom tells a story of me in the first grade. It was parent follow your kid to school day, and the teacher was asking, what are y'all gonna do when you grow up? They were gonna be policemen and firemen and astronauts. And I stood up, and my mother says in a fairly dejected tone, my grandpa runs a knife company, my dad runs a knife company, and I'll probably run a knife company too when I grow up. Since then, I've really come to thoroughly enjoy what I do. Being a family business and having that sense of long-term value and legacy just baked into my psyche from a very early age. I love the fact that knives become so personally essential. Things that are worthwhile enough to get passed down through multiple generations are a neat product to be responsible for. They just become such a part of you, and they tend to not wear out. They tend to not need operating system upgrades. So that little knife that was in your pocket 20, 30 years ago, still fully functional, and it's still available to be passed down to your kid when they're ready. This is our family history. It started with Hoyt in Leavenworth, Kansas, so my great-grandfather. So as an apprentice blacksmith, just a custom knife maker, we slowly evolved into a production company, and that's my dad's car. But right behind the car is a 10x10 lean-to. That was the first San Diego Buck Knives factory. And then my grandfather kept the business going all through the 50s. And this thing just blew beyond anything my grandfather ever envisioned. We incorporated in 1961. So we started expanding, started growing. We really hit a meteoric growth with the introduction of the Buck 110 folding hunter. From 1965 to 1980, no matter what we did, we could not keep those in stock. So this is Donnie Disco there in the middle there, that's me. We kept outgrowing our facilities because we were growing so fast. So we got out into El Cajon, California, which is about 30 miles east of San Diego. Knife making is a synergy between high-tech machining and passionate craftsmanship. Our goal is consistency. So there are times where the machines can deliver a better, consistent part. Now you get to sharpening, you get to polish and buffing. Now you need the flexibility of a human being who's now using a little more of their own judgment to finish up and turn out that good, consistent product. So it's this mesh of the machining capability and the craftsmanship. We've been making the 119 Special for over 75 years. My great-grandfather designed it in 1942. I don't know many products that have evolved less over time than that knife. It's almost the same knife it was 75 years ago because it delivered then, and it's just simple function it delivers now. We made a decision over 15 years ago to relocate our business out of California. And the driver for that was that we wanted to continue manufacturing in the US. It is much, much easier with a fraction of the capital and a fraction of the employees to import product. It was one of those key decision factors. Are we going to be an import? Are we going to be a marketing product design company and import product? Or are we going to be a manufacturer? And if we were going to remain a manufacturer, that required us to leave. And that was a Buck family decision. We sat down and said, the manufacturing is just a huge part of our brand. It's a huge part of who we are. It's a huge part of honoring our founder. and we decided to relocate. So this is basically our museum out here. So this little section, when we talk about the late 30s, early 40s, we have products here that were handmade by either Hoyt or Al. So you think about heat treat, it's all very scientific now. What my great-grandfather was doing was all by smell and color, because there was no thermostat. So my grandfather described it as you had to heat that piece of steel till it was the color of butter just before butter melts. I have no idea what that color is, but I've melted lots of butter in my life, and I still wouldn't know. But it was all by the smell. They could tell if it was hot enough, and by the color, they could tell if it was hot enough.
I'm a custom knife maker, and it's been very fulfilling. I mean, it'd be like something you do as a hobby, but I get to do it as a job. Before you know it, it's 37 years. That's a very rewarding feeling, to be able to start with nothing and create something that people just ooh and ah over. That's a real nice feeling. It's the Buck name and it's my name, so you're going to be sure that you get it right.
It is meaningful to know that a product that you're carrying has its own sense of history. So you have memories built with that product.
And I take a lot of pride in when someone comes up to me and says that they have a Buck knife, and I can look at the date code on it and say, that was made by my people. And I do take pride in that.
I think, say, my grandfather would be utterly amazed at how worldwide the Buck knife brand is regarded. We used to have a lifetime warranty, but we realized our knives get passed down generationally, that a lifetime wasn't long enough for these knives to have a problem. So we just scrapped the lifetime portion and made it a forever warranty. But that's my little grandbaby girl catching trout out of the pond. And, you know, you ask what makes me tick. Playing with my grandkids makes me tick.
You know, over the years, it's like having a relative almost, because of the closeness and not afraid to be vulnerable. And so we know their lives and they know our lives.
I mean, we have customers that have been buying our knives for 40, 50, 60 years, still buying new knives. That longevity of a relationship, it's nice to have somebody involved with the business that's been there, for the most part, that entire time. And so I think family and that commitment to quality and function, performance, a pragmatic functionality, I think that's what sets us apart.